Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. I am Akanksha Shukla, your host for the event. I'm heading Products Desk at Mastertrust. Thank you for joining us today for an interactive afternoon with the market veterans where we will understand Indian markets better and answer some of the most talked about factors impacting the Indian markets. Before we commence this panel discussion, let me take you through a brief introduction of Mastertrust, who we are and what we do. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes.
Mastertrust is one of the leading brokers and investment platform in Indian markets. It is present in 24 states. With 38 years of professional service, Mastertrust offers opportunity in wide range of asset classes. Today, its customer assets along with DP assets stand at 20,000 crores, with a total customer base of 3 lakh plus and total number of APs associated with us 1,000 plus. Our group, and let's discuss about our group companies. Mastertrust Limited, which is our group company, is a listed entity. We run our trading business under Master Capital Services Limited and our PMS operations under Master Portfolio Services Limited. Our insurance business is taken care by Master Insurance Broker Limited. And as we talk about our services, there's a wide range of services offered under our umbrella. It starts from algo trading solutions, equity trading, derivative trading, currency trading, commodities trading, research and advisory, wealth management, depository, insurance, and merchant banking. Our trading platform offering includes MasterSIF 2.0, Master Mobile, Master Web, Master Trader 3.0. And our investment products include PMS services, AIF products, insurance products, mutual funds, and fixed income. With a vision to be a well-diversified financial service provider for wealth creation, Mastertrust has built a unified platform that caters to all kinds of investment needs. The company offers investors and traders the best user interface and experience nationwide and has grown to an advanced level by providing an online presence to its products and services to its target audience. We have grown as a company and stood strong in an ever-changing industry like ours. With this, I would like to invite Ms. Palka Arora, one of the directors in the company, who will shed some light on what we are trying to do with StreetXperts. Over to you, Palka.
Thank you so much, Akanksha. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an enriching session that takes a deep dive into the heart of one of the most dynamic financial landscapes, the Indian equity markets. Today's webinar is not just a discussion, it's a collaborative journey to bring you expert insights, diverse perspectives, and discussions that transcend the ordinary. It's my honor to introduce you to the driving force behind today's enlightening event, StreetXperts. At Master Capital, we go beyond just navigating the markets, so we strive to truly understand them. This commitment to financial literacy and education has given rise to StreetXperts, a dedicated investor awareness program designed to empower you with knowledge, insights, and expert opinions. StreetXperts is on a mission to empower individuals with the knowledge and skills needed to make informed financial decisions. Over the last few months, we have been bringing you engaging workshops, expert-led seminars, and interactive resources that cover everything from budgeting basics to advanced investment strategies. And this is just the beginning. Now, without further ado, let's embark on this enlightening journey today. Our distinguished panelists, true luminaries in the field, are here to share their insights on Indian equity markets and its emerging trends. Thank you for joining us at StreetXperts, where expertise meets the street. I will now hand over the stage to Akanksha. Over to you, Akanksha, again.
Thank you, Palka. So with that, it is going to be an interesting discussion, as Palka mentioned, and I'm sure we all will have our key takeaways from the session. Please feel free to drop in your questions in the Q&A section, along with who would you like to answer it for them, which will be taken up at the end. With that, I'll quickly introduce the panelists for the day. Our first panelist is Mr. Manish Bhandari, CEO and Principal Portfolio Manager, Vallum Capital. With more than 2 decades of experience in the Indian capital markets, he co-founded Vallum Capital, an investment management and advisory firm in 2010. Manish's expertise lies in providing guidance on equities and asset allocation. Prior to establishing Vallum, Manish spent 6 years as a VP and portfolio manager equities with ING Management India and is a regular contributor to various financial publications in India and internationally. Our second panelist is VIKRAM KOTAK. Mr. VIKRAM KOTAK, co-founder and managing partner, Ace Lansdowne Investments. Ace Lansdowne Investments is an asset management setup in India offering AIF, PMS, and offshore funds. Mr. KOTAK, in his previous roles, was the CIO of Birla Sun Life Insurance as well as CIO of Deutsche Asset Management India. He is qualified chartered accountant and has over 29 years of experience in financial markets across segments that include fund management, fixed income, trading, and corporate finance. Mr. Kotak has served various committees such as ETA, Bombay Chamber of Commerce, SEBI, Bombay Stock Exchange, to name a few, between 2000 to 2013. He's also recently co-authored a book, Next Gen CA, Getting Future Ready. A warm welcome to you, Vikram. Our third panelist, Mr. Varinder Bansal, founder Omkara Capital, Incorporated in 2020. With more than 15 years of rich work experience in equity research, Mr. Bansal brings a wealth of expertise to the table. Before establishing Omkara Capital, he has held prominent roles of a fund manager at an asset management company and has served as corporate editor and head of research at CNBC TV 18. Mr. Bansal holds a degree in MSc Finance and MBA with a specialization in finance. Welcome. Our fourth panelist is our very own Mr. Harjeet Singh Arora, Managing Director, Mastertrust. He founded the Mastertrust Group in 1985 and has 45 plus years of experience in corporate finance, capital markets, and financial advisory services. With this able guidance, the firm has achieved various milestones that have constructed the firm ground of Mastertrust Group in the financial services sphere. A chartered accountant and a company secretary by qualification, his broad vision of bringing all financial services under one roof has made the group achieve so much in the last 38 years. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
Our fifth panelist for the day is Mr. Gurmeet Chawla, Director, Mastertrust. With over 30 years of experience in capital markets and corporate finance, Mr. Chawla is responsible for running the portfolio management and merchant banking verticals of Mastertrust. An engineer and an MBA by qualification, he has been an activist in the entrepreneurship environment as an angel investor. He has also mentored many startups for a long time now. So I extend my warm welcome to all once again. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Today's topic of discussion is a rather hot topic. As most Indians, we all are optimistic about India's positioning in the global frame. However, every now and then, we also become cautious because of multiple actions happening on the global front that may or may not work in India's favor. So let us know from our market veterans today how they are navigating Indian markets in the face of global dynamics. What are the emerging trends witnessed by the Indian economy, and how is our economy impacted, if any, by the global slowdown? So without further delay, I would like to initiate the discussion with the first question to our MD, sir. So, with being in the industry for 4 to 5 decades now, what's your style of investing? And what is the investor sentiment at the moment, and how do you see Indian markets performing from here on?
Yeah. Dear all, good evening and welcome to this webinar. Today's webinar is focused on understanding Indian markets, and the focus will be on fundamental side of the capital market, and that is value buying. All our 3 guest speakers have wide experience and knowledge about the value investing, because 2 of them, as Kansha has told, they're running their own PMS, and Varinder is running a big research company. In addition to this fundamental analysis and value buying, another concept is technical analysis and technical trading, for which we will plan a separate webinar shortly for our audience. Coming to the fundamental side of the market, let us first pay homage to Guru of Guru, Mr. Charlie Munger, who expired a day before after a glorious life and glorious career in capital market of 99 years. Mr. Warren Buffett treated him like his guru, and he acknowledges that Berkshire would not have been the same without Mr. Charlie Munger. They met long time back, 1960, and his main lesson to Warren Buffett was, instead of investing in so-so companies, buy value companies at fair price and wait for a longer time. And the result we have seen in his investment in Coca-Cola, Telsa, etc. He taught the world the power of compounding and how to achieve it. Couple of his quotes are really very good, and I would like to mention. His very interesting quote was that big money is not in buying and selling of the stocks, it is in the waiting. So if we'll hold the stock, which we have identified a good stock, the value is created in waiting and keeping the long-term investment. The second is, the best thing a human being can do is to share his knowledge with the others. So the motto of this webinar is the sharing of knowledge. Our guest experts have vast knowledge and experience in the capital market, and we will be sharing all this. So next big thing, in my opinion, is the political scenario. By the time we'll be finishing this webinar, the exit poll of 5 states which have recently gone into election will start pouring in. And in a month's time, we are entering 2024, which is a year of election. 70 countries are going for election in this year, including India, USA, and UK. The election leads to volatility in the stock market, which of course, as per my experience of 40 years, is a temporary phase. If we get a stable government, it is good for the country's development, for the economic development, and for the capital market. But we have seen the impact of election is more in the short term, less in the medium term, and it diminishes further in the long term. Coalition governments allow significant reforms to continue, but limits the economic growth. So India, the positive factor is about the politics is that the opponents have similar thinking as far as economic development, economic policies, and the capital market policies that rules and regulations are concerned. As we have seen, the disinvestment started by Congress under the Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh was continued by NDA government, and the insurance sector reforms under Mr. Vajpayee's government were carried forward by UPA government and further by BJP government. So similar view of all the political parties has been on the capital market side. So the impact of election, the political situation, it is quite temporary. We have seen so many elections in last 40 years. But overall, the economic growth, the capital market growth continues. Another rule which I would like to mention about the stock market is, stock market attracts who want to get rich quickly, but rewards only who are ready to get rich slowly. So the difference is quick and slow. As far as India's future is concerned, it's quite bright. Today, we are at the GDP of $4 trillion, which makes us number 4 economy in the world. Projection is that by 2030, we'll reach GDP of $7 trillion, and our rank will in the world will stand at number 3 after USA and China. We have seen a lot of reforms in recent past, like GST, PLA schemes, faceless direct access systems, focus on manufacturing sector, including defense, railways, power, roads, etc., in addition to the capital market reforms. And it has led to the economic growth and people's interest in the capital market. Today, we are sitting on a book of SIP collection in the country at 17,000 crore per month, which is a big number, which is a big force. And last week, we have seen a mind-boggling, record-breaking weekly response to our IPO markets subscription. 6 IPOs have collected 3,67,000 crores, which is a record. And that shows how much money is in the market. So, nutshell, I will say India is a buy, not for today, but at least for next 10 years. Today, India market has hit a historical market cap of $4 trillion. Adani episode is also behind us. Supreme Court and SEBI has given clean check. And today that group is sitting on a cash of 90,000 crore for further investment in India. So we are also seeing a decline of inflationary trend in the globe. So this is a good time as far as capital market is concerned to invest. And in my opinion, this is the time to invest in India with a long-term point of view. And recently, I was studying that Maharashtra's economy, the GDP, what today is, that is equivalent to the total GDP of India, which was 17 years back. So today, Maharashtra is India, as far as economic power is concerned, which India was 17 years. So in, I think, next 10 to 15 years, Maharashtra should be at that GDP, where today we are. So $3 to $4 trillion. So many other states like Gujarat, MP, UP, they are also falling. They are also progressing, growing very fast. And moreover, 6 out of the 10 fast developing cities in the world are from India, which is Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, Chennai, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. So this much growth I am reading from the available data. So my advice at this stage is stay safe, stay invested in Indian economy and in Indian equity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Definitely, MD sir. The upcoming decade is India's decade, and I think India is the best bet that we can put our money on.
Yeah.
So, moving on to our next question to Chawla ji. In light of emerging fintech innovations, how are traditional financial institutions collaborating with fintech companies to stay competitive and meet evolving customer expectations?
Thank you, Omkara. Good evening, everybody. See, today is a huge fusion of data, technology, and intelligence. I think we are seeing every day a new pinnacle of this mixture and how growth is happening. So India has leapfrogged because of this integration. We have examples in the banking system where companies like HDFC partnered with Paytm, and ICICI with other neo bank, Axis with Bharat Pay, and so on. And these integrations or collaborations or partnerships are examples of just beginning of what fintechs can do to the financial worlds, to the conventional banking sector. The strength and balance sheet of the existing banks is being used, and the reach and flexibility of these fintechs being. So they don't see new banks or the fintechs as competitors, but they use them as how to reach the last mile, how to do cash-based funding, how to do MSME funding, how to do a very small funding too, and there the defaults are very low. So whether it is payment gateways, whether it's point of sale machines, all these are provided by companies like Paytm, Pines Lab, and all. So we are seeing that, and everybody is using, everybody is witness. So, but also when it comes to capital markets, company like us, what we are seeing is that every day there is an innovation which says, I can push data feed faster. I can give you a lower latency product, or I can give you an integration, or I can give you different strategies. So these all startups which have come up are by people who experienced how to invest or how to make money. They understand what risk is and how to manage risk. So there is a series of innovations that these people are doing, and it's very difficult to catch up, right? So it's very exciting since the market is expanding. So we don't feel the burden of competition but yes, we're happy to integrate. So what we feel is that before I come to how we are using technology or the initiatives to our benefit, how I see these fintechs or these IT companies which are dwelling into financial services or helping financial services grow are going to be use of blockchain technology furthermore, because that will build in more decentralization, transparency, and security. And we, as a user of that blockchain technology in our system, the stock exchanges will be able to do the settlements much faster, right? We can always have digital securities coming in. The regulatory compliances can be faster, more transparent. The robo-advisors will come up, and you can manage your own portfolio through robo-advisory. So it's like people will engage more with the markets because of these. Then you have other digital assets that will be created. So we'll see a fusion of these two worlds. And when we talk of AI and machine learning, that is at the back end of this, where it reasons, learns, and becomes autonomous to work for you to your advantage. So we have already seen the applications of AI ML in our CRMs, lead management systems, analytics, research, making strategies, discovering which strategy works for which environment. So this is the advent, there. The important piece will come in very fast is the regulatory technologies. Regulations and the regulatory body will be held by technologies, where it will be real-time sort of data management, real-time of reporting will happen. It's already happening, when we receive mails from NSE or SEBI and instantly. That means they're also going that way, And this will also mean that we can still look at faster cycles, maybe settlement cycles, maybe whether it is investigations or whatever. So we have to be very conscious also of this technology being put to use. And then we are all using cloud computing anyways. The broking industry is using cloud computing, and I would urge to all participants who will like to learn more about cloud computing, please do talk to our technology team that can help each one of the participants, especially intermediaries, in a better way. There's low cost, there is flexibility in operation, and there is efficient data management that can happen. What is happening in testing now is metaverse, the use of virtual reality and augmented reality, and where they're trying to bring a real-time experience of trading, talking to a research guy or visiting your branch office and interacting with people. So that's going to happen, especially in the advisory field, where people like to talk to and do it virtually. We are also looking at wealth management piece, which is going to be fully automated, and there'll be more decentralized financial institutions and they also will offer wealth management piece as a product. I think Paytm and all are doing it, and others will follow. So we are looking at these changes very fast. And as a group, we have been very conscious that we have to keep up pace with the technology developments, whether it was from VSETs to CTCL to managing these lines, co-location facilities, data centers, the disaster recovery. These technology pieces are in place. What we're excited about is that we were the earlier movers to follow and give algo strategies and integration of the IPs, the knowledge IPs with the technology and give it to our customers. And that has been happening very fast. We are the also pioneers in getting a middleware in place, which is again by a fintech. And that means we can plug in any RMS, any OMS, any data feed, any kind of market player which comes in to our existing setup, and we can push the services on a seamless basis, right? So upgrading, and then all these elements which come in the market will be fused and integrated into websites, your apps. So I think everything that is coming in will be consumed by us. We are consuming that, and we have been upgrading our CRM, LMS, other tools to use all these. And it's really challenging. I mean, even the research department is now using a lot of tools which are developed by these small entities. Now, we are actually aggregator of all these solutions, an IT company more than a broking firm. Or either is a treasury function or it is an IT and a connectivity function. I think that's what I would like to say here in innovation side.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we all, if we have to fare well, we have to be in the running. Everybody's riding the wave of technology. And absolutely, as you say, being here, I can see that sea of difference in all the platforms that we have been working in over this period of time, the kind of developments that have happened and advancements that have taken place. Thank you so much, Chawla ji, for your answer. Moving on, my next question would be to Manish. Manish, I would like to know that most of our consumer-facing companies have witnessed an acute slowdown. How and when do you think this will revive?
Hi, Akansha. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we all can hear you clearly.
Wonderful. Good afternoon to everyone, to all the panelists and Arora Saab and everyone. And thank you for this opportunity to air my views. Very particular question and pertinent on the current relevance of that why we have faced such an acute slowdown in many of the consumer-facing companies, including the rural-facing companies and FMCGs, and as well as the restaurant businesses. So if you remember, I want to take you all to slightly a year back when there was a new term which was coined, which was the K-shaped recovery, where the rich will get richer. And because of the destruction of the balance sheet during the COVID period, which happened globally, and India was also a participant to it, that the one set of consumer will really struggle to meet the both ends meet. So if you see, three things have happened on the small ticket items. One, that there is a balance sheet destruction which has happened for the consumer, which is at the fringe, which is sitting at the fringe. And the second thing which has happened is also the El Nino effect, where the central India and the northern India has been hit hard by the deficiency of the rain, and versus the southern part of India. So you have a dichotomy here on the distribution of the rain. And so if I add up these things together, and also the inflationary effect, where the petrol prices have not come down, diesel prices have not come down, and this has got a cascading effect. All three things put together has really dented the consumer sentiment, at least for the portion of one section of the society, and that has got reflected back into the consumption-related, small ticket consumption-related items. This may have caught some of us by surprise because we didn't thought about the extent of the cut which would have happened. But now with the revival in the spending by the government, this is being an election year of the state election, now the central election, and usually it takes 2.5 years to repair the balance sheet. I see a markedly different year for the second half of 2024 calendar year. So we are still 6-7 months away before we see the full revival. But yeah, I hope I was able to lay the list the factors which did led this to us, and the relatively factors which ideally should make sure that this comes back again in the system.
Thank you, Manish, for that. Everybody in the audience, I would request, if you have any questions pertaining to the discussions that we are having, please drop it in the Q&A section, and we would take it up towards the end of the webinar. Also, if in case, I would request my panelists if they would like to add something onto the existing discussions. It is more than welcome to have your views as well on the same content. With that, I would move on to my next question to VIKRAM. That we know that India, as MD sir mentioned, that it is India's decade. But then there are definitely few sectors which are more attractive as compared to others. So which sectors, as per you, are the most likely to do well sectors in the Indian markets going
Thank
forward?
you. Thank you, Akansha. I'm audible?
Yes, you're very much
Great.
audible.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the panelists, and Harjeet Singh ji. Thank you for inviting me. I think Harjeet Singh ji rightly said at the start that $4 trillion market cap, and we are still even not scratched the surface. It's a 140 crore population country where a 1% of Indians consume. It's around 50% of airline traffic. So we are just talking about just start of the next big wave. Now that can be last for 15, 20 years, or depending on how demography curves down and all that. But I think it's very difficult to say which sector will not do well. It's very difficult to say which sector will not do well, rather to say which will do well. But let me put out two important sectors which I believe will do extremely well. India has seen the last 20, 25 years of big growth in the service sector. We've seen that offshoring, labor arbitrage, pharma outsourcing, all have done extremely well. But what India lacked always is the manufacturing capabilities. 140 crore people, you have to build your own capabilities, you have to feed them, right? And post-COVID, one thing came very clear for all the countries globally, that they have to be self-sufficient. And possibly India was understanding this much ahead. I think our Prime Minister was talking from 2016, a Make in India kind of theme. But the enablers were not there. So first enabler came, cut in corporate tax rate, right? Where we have seen a huge cut in corporate tax rate, which was one of the lowest in the ASEAN or maybe Asia region. And also new projects will only pay 17, 18% tax. That's the first enabler that waked up everyone to the, invest in India. Second, the PLI. I think these are the two things which really put India in a very different map. Today, you look at the mobile phone or electronic manufacturing, India is far ahead of many countries in the world. So I think this is what the starting point. Also, the consumption and the need of Indians. We need to see to it that finally we don't only manufacture a low value add item in India, we have to also do the high value add item in India, which is started in many areas. Maybe you can start to see defense or the specialty technology area and all that. I think that manufacturing capex is one sector I believe is going to last for next 20 years. So you have to just focus on that one sector. Second, I think the digital adoption by the Indian economy, right? Today, 70 crore internet users, 38.5% of the world digital transaction daily happens in India. I think Google Pay is like anyone can just do a Google Pay, and even go to a coconut water guy or a sabji wala guy, you can actually do the Google Pay. So I think the adoption has been very, very good by Indians. I was looking at one of the data point, the e-commerce giant Amazon just came 10, 11 years back in India. They put their first warehouse of 2 lakh square feet many years back in India, 10, 12 years back. Today, they have 4.4 crore square feet warehouse in India. So look at in 10 years from 2 lakh to 4.4 crore. Now that shows that what kind of e-commerce journey Amazon has seen. So those who have went into digital adoption, whether it's a capital market guys, I don't talk the name because of SEBI compliance, exchanges, food delivery companies, you pick up anyone who has gone and picked up this digital, adoption, which reduced the cost for the consumer and also made consumer delight much more better. It's ultimately in the totality, everyone benefits. Look at the way Amazon or Ajio or even Tata Click sells the apparels, right? I think it saves a lot of time. People, and now that I know, I remember my wife was ordering a Diwali diya, because we run short of diya. On Blinkit, we got in 40 minutes. So look at the speed, cost, delivery time. I think that digital adoption companies will do extremely well. So that's the sector number 2. So manufacturing and the digital adoption companies will do extremely well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I absolutely agree with India being at the soft spot due to various reasons, and with PLI scheme at the same time when the world is looking for China +1 has put India at a sweet spot. However, the catch always remains that at the time while we are discussing that India is going to be a 5 trillion economy in the next 5 years, or this decade is for India, somehow when there is a rally in the market, again, the same question comes that a certain segment is overvalued. So my next question to you, Varinder, to you would be that every now and then there is a report which says that market has become expensive, especially the small cap segment. What's your take on that?
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Rodaji, thank you so much. And I'm honored that I'm, in the presence of VIKRAM sir and Manish sir, from whom I keep on learning every single day. I understand the exuberance in Indian markets, and, we love to hear and even talk about that. Yes, it's there for next 5 or 10 years, but I am scared right now, to be very honest. I'm very scared the way things are moving. I think the market is divided into two parts. One is clearly, the total exuberance in the market in terms of whatever valuations, all the defense, railways, PSUs, stocks. And on the other side, there are many boring sectors which no one wants to touch, like chemicals per se, which no one wants to touch. So there are many sectors who could trade at 30, 40, 50 PE, and there could be many sectors which no one wants to even look at it, 10 or 15 PE. So yes, we are excited about a lot of opportunities, but it's hard for me to, understand, and invest in a lot of companies where valuations are really, really favorable for, an investor. It's happening, it is what it is, but it's challenging. It's very challenging right now, so yes, whether that is the free float thing going on in the market or whether it is the the retail investors pumping in a lot of money in the market. But I clearly think that one should stand still, think a lot, step back, and think about the valuation part. Yes, we all love India. We all are excited about a lot of things, but in terms of a lot of mid caps, it's just crazy sometimes for me to think about a recent company, listed today, Arora. That valuation of that company is more than HDFC Bank, or a TTMP. What Tata Technologies trade at 60 times FY26 earnings. So, yes, people respect Tatas and all, but where it has to stop, some of the mid-cap technology companies would trade at 50, 60 multiple, large cap IT companies are 15, 20 times. So, unable to understand. So, one has to pick a school of thought and follow it. But I think it's happening what it is happening. So, yes. So, I'm careful. I'm scared.
Cautiously optimistic, so to say.
No, optimistic is there, but one has to invest somewhere, right? I don't know, what I pick or what not. It's like, most of the boring companies we're picking up, we have to hold them and we are holding them. But it's just something else happening in the markets right now. The SME companies, which no one wants to touch, they trade at 30, 40, 50 PE. I can't believe HDFC Bank is trading at less than, 15 times. A lot of PSU banks, Bob, Canara, SBI, less than 10 times earnings. No one wants to touch financials. No one wants to touch chemicals. As I said, it's two different worlds altogether in one market.
Correct. But as you rightly said, that in the sea of so many small cap and mid cap companies, you have to stick to the right advisor, right school of thought, as you said, and figure out what are those value picks in that sea of overvalued small cap.
Trust me, no one listens to that, okay? Because when the markets are moving up, no one listens to any advisor.
I agree. Thank you, Varinder, for that view. But again, as we talk about the Indian economy and we talk about its positivities, and figuring out the best picks, at the same time, there are global issues which keep knocking at the door. That every now and then there is a war that happens. There is some economic affairs that are happening in US, some or the other things. So, but there was this one thing that has been very cautiously watched, that we all expect that as an after effect of the wars, oil as a commodity would go up. However, this has not happened. So, Manish, please throw some light on why exactly, what do you think was the reason why oil did not react the way it should have reacted?
Yeah, Akansha, we had two very disastrous events in the last 18 months. The first was the Ukraine war, Russia-Ukraine war, and second was Israel and the whole terrorist attack on Israel and its aftermath. And in both the cases, the oil would have been a casualty. And since India import most of its requirement, and it is the whole fiscal situation is susceptible to what happens to the oil. And finally, this was like a dog which was not barking at some point of time. So to me, when I stretch my imagination, and what would have happened is one thing, that the anticipated recession in the US, the long anticipated recession in the US, is something what the world is waiting for, and there is some demand destruction is taking place in here and there. And that is one thing which has not changed the oil equation. The world expected oil to shoot beyond $100. Oil settled at $85, even in band corridor, despite all the news of the production cut by the OPEC Plus members. And one thing which is interestingly, which has happened, and I don't know, I just connected the dots, that the new BRICS has a lot of players which are very effectively controlling the OPEC. So you have the, apart from the Russia of the world, you have UAE, Saudi Arabia. These are the really heavyweights which has the oil coming up as part of their the oil resource rich countries. So I equally thought about it, that there will be a cartelization, and oil is now it is at the level where it can go up, and it didn't happen. And that also explains you partly why there has been more exuberance in India, which rightfully so Varinder is alluding that there is an exuberance in India, but this whole oil equation didn't change substantially for India to make another case for India to re-rate it, apart from all the financial inflows which is happening. Not
Manish, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
There's a request from audience that we explain them in Hindi also. That
अच्छा
would-
अच्छा ओके श्योर बिल्कुल अरोड़ा साहब
Yeah.
तो मेरा कहने का मतलब ये था कि सब एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द वॉर सिचुएशन इन लास्ट 18 months ऑन 2 occasions ऑयल का प्राइस ऊपर जाना चाहिए विच इज क्वाइट नेचुरल एंड वो हुआ नहीं एंड इसके लिए अच्छा एक इवेंट जरूर हुआ कि आफ्टर द यूक्रेन वॉर जियोपॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन हैज चेंज सिग्निफिकेंटली वेयर द यूरोप विच वाज डिपेंडेंट ऑन द रशिया गैस सारी यूरोप की 50% से ज्यादा गैस रशिया से आती थी और जर्मनी की 60%. सो दे एंजॉयड दिस पीस डिविडेंड फॉर लॉन्ग और उनके लिए गैस की कॉस्ट और इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन को वापस री एनर्जाइज करने की कॉस्ट बहुत ज्यादा हो गई है. पैचेस में जरूर इफेक्ट हुआ है जस्ट बिकॉज की ऑयल 80-85 पे रहा. इंडिया को इसमें इनफैक्ट फायदा ही हुआ where we were able to import oil from Russia, who became a forced buyer, a forced seller, और हमें डिस्काउंट पे मिलता गया ऑयल काफी टाइम तक, एंड इंडिया बिकेम अ बेनिफिशियरी इन दिस प्रोसेस. और जहां पे गवर्नमेंट ने पेट्रोल के प्राइस चेंज नहीं किए, तो अगर आप पूरी इक्वेशन को देखें तो इंडिया बिकेम अ बेनिफिशियरी ऑफ दिस होल ऑयल ट्रेड इन सम वे और अदर. एंड यही कारण भी, ये पार्टली एक कारण भी रहा कि फिजिकल के नंबर्स अच्छे रहे और गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत सारी पंप प्राइमिंग कर दी है लास्ट के 5 से 6 महीने में, और जो अगले 1 साल तक 8 महीने तक चलेगी, बिकॉज कॉफर्स फुल है गवर्नमेंट के हर एंगल से. सो ये बिल्कुल आपकी बात सही रही कि ऑयल हैज नॉट डन वेल फ्रॉम ऑयल, जो आदमी ऑयल खरीद रहा है उसके एंगल से. और मैंने आपको बताया एंटिसिपेशन ऑफ अ रिसेशन इन यूएस, एंड ऑल्सो मेरे को ऐसा लगता है जियोपॉलिटिकल इवेंट्स में थोड़ा वॉच करता हूँ, जहां से मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि वन ऑफ द स्विंग प्रोड्यूसर इन दिस होल प्रॉब्लम वाज आल्सो ईरान. और ईरान ने कहीं पे भी कोई बड़ा रोल प्ले नहीं किया इसके अंदर. आवाज जरूर ज्यादा हुई, लेकिन जो भी रोल ईरान को प्ले करना था वो इतना डिस्ट्रक्टिव नहीं रहा इस पूरे इजराइल की प्रोसेस के अंदर. तो जो बार बार स्पेकुलेशन बना, वो स्पेकुलेशन आ नहीं पाया पूरा इस प्रोसेस में, एंड दैट इज द रीजन. बट आप मेरे को अगर पूछें तो मेरा ये मानना है कि ऑयल कांट रिमेन वेयर इट इज रिमेनिंग टुडे एट $80-85 विद द कार्टेलाइजेशन इन द वर्ल्ड. जो कार्टेलाइजेशन ऑयल के प्रोड्यूसर्स के बीच में है, इंक्लूडिंग सऊदी अरेबिया और यूएई, एंड नाउ द बिगेस्ट स्विंग प्लेयर इज ईरान. सो आई एम ऑफ अ व्यू कि ऑयल विल इंच हायर ओनली, इट कांट इंच लोअर. इसके लिए 3-4 फैक्ट्स और डेटा ये भी है कि जितना भी रिन्यूएबल्स हमने बात किया लास्ट के 5 years के अंदर, पूरी वर्ल्ड ने रिन्यूएबल कैपेसिटीज लगाई, और इस कैपेसिटी के बीच में ऑयल की डिमांड 4-4.5% और बढ़ी है. ऑयल का डिमांड डिस्ट्रक्ट नहीं हुआ है ग्लोबली. सो इसका मतलब ये नहीं रहा कि ऑयल हैज मूव्ड आउट ऑफ आवर अस और वो वहां पे कोई डिक्लाइन होना शुरू हुआ है. सो वर्ल्ड स्टिल नीड ऑयल एंड टू एनर्जाइज दिस. और सेकेंड चीज जो मेरे को नजर आती है, जो ऐसा मैंने आपको बताया, ये ईरान और जो कार्टेलाइजेशन है वो बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग कार्टेलाइजेशन है. सो आज अगर मेरे को ये केस बनाना है कि ऑयल हमेशा यहाँ रहेगा, आंसर इज नो. मेरे हिसाब से ऑयल ऊपर ही जाएगा. सो वन हैज टू बी केयरफुल इनफ. और अगर ऑयल बहुत ज्यादा ऊपर जाता है तो डेफिनेटली इट हैज गॉट इज ओन इम्पैक्ट ऑन आवर मार्केट ऑल्सो, बिकॉज द ट्रांसफर ऑफ वेल्थ जो एक जो कंज्यूमर है उसके हाथ से प्रोड्यूसर में चला जाता है, वो मिडिल ईस्ट में हमारा वेल्थ ट्रांसफर हो जाता है.
I agree to that, Manish. But जैसे कि आपने मेंशन किया, with all these global issues, if kept in perspective, somewhere we are in the middle of a global slowdown, और हम इसको we can't unaccept it. So, Varinder, I would like to know from you that हम ऐसे global slowdown के बीच में, how do I build a portfolio that is able to work well in a global slowdown? What should we keep in mind, and what sector should we specifically look in these kind of scenarios?
हमने सबसे ज्यादा पैसा तभी कमाया जब ये लोग नेगेटिव बात करते हैं. हम लोगों ने टेक्सटाइल लेना चालू किया जब लोग बोल रहे थे यूरोप और यूएस में कुछ होता नहीं है. सो वो आई थिंक लास्ट 2 साल से people were telling us the same thing again and again for all the apparel export guys. So one of our biggest bet, Gokul Das, did very well.
Varinderji, can you be a little closer to the mic?
Sorry, sir. Sorry. So, I don't think, Tata Motors, people questioned every time, कि JLR perform नहीं करेगा, numbers नहीं आएंगे, global slowdown है. I think it's a very general, way to look at things. You have to break, आपको हर एक सेक्टर को, हर एक कंपनी को ब्रेक करना पड़ेगा, उस तरीके से समझना पड़ेगा कि कहाँ जा रहे हो, क्यों जा रहे हो, क्या चीज है. So, as I said, अभी भी बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं. मतलब you talk about, I don't know, मतलब आप यूएस की बात कर रहे हो, यूरोप की बात कर रहे हो, चाइना की बात कर रहे हो, किसकी बात कर रहे हो, वो चीज जरूरी है. बहुत ऑटो कंपनीज है जहाँ पे 50% से ज्यादा रेवेन्यू बाहर से आता है. बट अगर देखा जाए तो बहुत ऐसी कंपनीज भी हैं, बिकॉज लोग ऐसा सोचते हैं, जिसके कारण आपको 20-25% आरओसी वाली कंपनी 15-15 टाइम पे मिलेगी. अब केमिकल कंपनीज अभी बिकॉज डी स्टॉकिंग का इशू हो रहा है. लास्ट 2-3 साल से लोग बोल रहे हैं कि हाँ उन्होंने लॉसेस लिए, इन्वेंट्री लॉसेस लिए, कुछ होगा नहीं, इसीलिए तो आपको कंपनी सस्ता मिल रहा है, 10-15 टाइम पे मिल रहा है. क्योंकि अगर सब कुछ अच्छा हो जाएगा तो आपको हर चीज 40-50 टाइम पे मिलेगा. So I think it's more important कि आप किस तरीके के इन्वेस्टर हो. अगर आपको ट्रेंड में चलना है तो आप ट्रेंड में कहीं फंस भी सकते हो बड़े जाके. बट मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो रिसेशन आएगा. रिसेशन का फियर जिस तरीके से था, इन्फ्लेशन का था, इंटरेस्ट रेट्स का था, वो सब कुछ नहीं है. तो यू हैव टू पिक एंड चूज. इट्स वेरी 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 स्पेसिफिक. बहुत ध्यान से समझ के, पढ़ के, लिख के कि कहाँ पे जाना है. सो आई थिंक जब लोग सब एक जैसी बात करने लग जाते हैं, उससे मुझे डर लगता है. और जैसे आपने बोला कि अभी ग्लोबल स्लो डाउन है, आप दिखा दीजिए कहाँ स्लो डाउन है. आप नंबर देख लीजिए, आप लुई विटॉन के नंबर देख लीजिए, आप किसी भी कंपनी ग्लोबल जो नंबर्स आते हैं नंबर देख लीजिए. स्लो डाउन दिखाइए ना मुझे कहाँ पे है.
तारा ग्लोबल स्लो डाउन है, बट इंडिविजुअली सब कुछ पिक कर रहा है. इट्स अ वेरी डाइवर्स व्यू.
No, US GDP was up 5.5% yesterday, right?
Yeah.
कि मैं I don't understand कि हम लोग अगेन मैं बोला कि अगर सेक्टर किस में जाना है और सेक्टर में वैल्यूएशन क्या है. हमारे प्रशांत सर सिखाते रहते हैं हमें कि जब स्लो डाउन होता है तो लोग ग्रोथ भूल जाते हैं, और जब ग्रोथ होता है तो लोग नीचे भूल जाते हैं. तो आई थिंक वही थोड़ा सा हो रहा है. सो आई डोंट, आई एम अ वेरी माइक्रो गाय. मैक्रो हमारे मनीष सर है, वो ज्यादा अच्छे से और ज्यादा अच्छे से समझाते हैं हमें. बट माइक्रो में ये समझते हैं कि बस द ओनली थिंग व्हाट आई हैव विद मी इज what price I have to buy.
All right. But I absolutely agree to that, Varinder ji. But while we discuss कि कौन से सेक्टर्स हैं जहाँ पे we can see exponential growth in the upcoming time, बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल्स भी एक काफी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट रखता है. इंडिया की ग्रोथ की बैकबोन है बैंक्स. सो बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल्स आर एक्सपेक्टेड. At least that's what whenever we read articles we find it. So Vikram, my question to you would be that banking and financials is also another sector that people are very positive on. So what are your views on banking sector in light of recent regulation changes that have happened related to personal loans? What is your view on the sector?
So let me first answer the second portion, which is the recent regulation. I think it's a very smart and timely move by the RBI. एज क्या हुआ है, लास्ट 10-12 साल में इंडियन लैंडिंग का जो लैंडस्केप है वो काफी एक्सपांड हुआ है. आप पहले खाली सिर्फ पीएसयू बैंक्स हुआ करती थी, फिर प्राइवेट बैंक्स आई, एनबीएफसी कोने कोने में आ गई है, वो कोना कोना एनबीएफसी हो गया है, फिनटेक लेंडर्स आ गए हैं. आजकल लैंडिंग ऐसे हो रहा है जैसे पता नहीं चलता है. मैंने ऐसे मजाक में किसी से सुना कि किसी ने ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग में पैसा खो दिया, उसने पर्सनल लोन ले लिया और पैसा पे कर दिया. तो ये सब हो रहा है. तो इसकी वजह से क्या हुआ है कि लैंडिंग रैम्पेंट हो गई है, थोड़ा रैम्पेंट ज्यादा हो गई थी ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है अनसिक्योर्ड साइड पे. और वो रैम्पेंट को कट करने के लिए जो रिस्क वेटेज बढ़ाया है और भी बढ़ा सकते हैं ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है. और दूसरा, पिछले 5-6 सालों में मैंने देखा है कि बहुत बड़ा जंप हुआ है पर्सनल बोरोवर्स में, टिकट साइज में, दोनों जगह पे. तो वो एक चिंता का कारण आरबीआई के लिए था कि ये अनसिक्योर्ड लोन में इतना बड़ा हाई ग्रोथ क्यों हो रहा है. और दूसरा क्या होता है, अनसिक्योर्ड लोन इट्स वेरी एक्सपेंसिव, राइट. जैसे मॉर्गेज 8.5 8.15 में मिलता है, ऑटो लोन शायद 9 पे मिलता है. ये जो अनसिक्योर्ड जो एरिया है वो 12 से लेके 25-26% तक डिफरेंट लेवल ऑफ franchisee or vehicle lend at very different price. So it's a very high profitable segment for the NBFC. That's why the rampant was there. And also it's a very high default category because when you have the higher risk and higher rates, you always have a higher default. तो मुझे लगता है ये बहुत ही अच्छा मूव है। मुझे लगता है इसकी वजह से थोड़ा प्रूडेंस श्योरली आएगा, थोड़ा जो रैम्पेंट हो रहा था उसको कट मिलेगा, तो ये प्रूडेंस आएगा। और इसकी सबसे ज्यादा जो ब्रंट है वो आएगी स्मॉलर एनबीएफसी पे या वीकर एनबीएफसी जिसका बोरिंग कॉस्ट काफी ज्यादा है। तो उनके लिए एक थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाएगा वो फिल्टरिंग करना, तो ऐसा शॉर्ट टर्म में। लॉन्ग टर्म में मुझे नहीं लगता इसकी कोई ज्यादा इफेक्ट आने वाली है बिकॉज इंडिया इज अ क्रेडिट स्टाउड मार्केट। एवरी वन इज एंटरप्रेन्योर, सबको पैसा चाहिए, किसी को अनसिक्योर्ड चाहिए, किसी को सिक्योर्ड चाहिए। तो जो अपॉर्चुनिटी है इंडिया की, जो ग्रोथ है, जो साइकिल है, जो केपेक्स साइकिल है, उसको चलते हुए इंडिया का क्रेडिट ग्रोथ काफी रोबस्ट रहने वाला है। इनफैक्ट अभी तो शुरुआत हुई, मुझे लगता है इंडिया का क्रेडिट ग्रोथ अगले 10-15 साल में काफी रोबस्ट रहेगा। तो लॉन्ग टर्म अपॉर्चुनिटी on banking and financial sector looking very good. Short term, this can be a course correction which allows some good quality stocks available at a much cheaper price. So, but मुझे मोटा मोटी ऐसा लग रहा है कि banking और financial sector will be very important sector for us, both from the stock market wealth creation point of view as well as from the economic point of view.
Correct. I agree. I agree to that. And I'm sure the audience also agrees to that. So moving on to our next question to you, Varinder. With this recent IPOs and the markets, the way it has reacted to IPOs and all the companies had a solid balance sheet. We also talk about the new age businesses, which had probably come up with an IPO last year and have not been performing that well. So I would like to know your views on these new age businesses like Paytm, Nykaa, Zomato. How do you think they're faring and how do you think how well will they fare?
I have no view. I don't even understand them. I don't understand. I have no views. But I'm just saying, there are normal businesses available so cheap. I don't understand, So I have no view on all these new age businesses or new IPOs. Honestly, we don't invest in all these crazy, IPOs which are coming in. So we just stay away. I mean, as I said, I'm a very boring investor. So, हमें लगता है कि there are many things happening in the market which is totally out of our mind.
Manish, if I asked you the same question, what is your take on the new age businesses that we just talked about?
New age businesses come in different shape and size. So you have Zomatos of the world, and then you have some different defense companies of the world. So which there are so wide a canvas for us to believe about the new age businesses. So as long as the business has got some kind of innovation and it has got some process or product innovation, it will have its value. But Akansha, as I wanted to interrupt you when Varinder was talking about the overvaluation in the market. So one thing which मैं audience को बताना चाहता हूँ कि एक अच्छी company doesn't mean कि एक अच्छा investment है. Kotak Mahindra is a very good company, and it's a bad investment for someone who wants to own it, who has owned it for last 4 years. तो जो एक इन्वेस्टर को एक स्किल चाहिए, वो स्किल होती है कि एक आप अच्छी कंपनी आइडेंटिफाई, एक अच्छा बिजनेस आइडेंटिफाई करें, उसमें स्किल लगती है। एंड दैट इज अ प्रोफेशन, ये बहुत बड़ा प्रोफेशन है ग्लोबली, और ये प्रोफेशन भी है इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजर्स का, वेल्थ मैनेजर्स का, या इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजर का, मैन्युफैक्चरर का, कि वो एक अच्छी कंपनी आइडेंटिफाई करे। सेकेंड थिंग जो हम लोग देखते हैं, और मैं चाहता हूँ सब लोगों को अर्ज करूंगा कि आप लोग भी उस एंगल से और लेंस से देखें कि अच्छी कंपनी और एक मैनेजमेंट जो शेयर होल्डर के लिए काम करेगा। मैनेजमेंट हो सकता है अपनी सेकंड जनरेशन के लिए काम कर रहा हो, मैनेजमेंट हो सकता है बैंक के लिए काम कर रहा हो। कई कंपनीज मैंने देखी हैं जहां पे एम्प्लॉइज विल मेक लॉट ऑफ मैरी और शेयर होल्डर को कुछ बड़ा कम रिवॉर्ड मिलेगा। सो फाइनली एज ए शेयर होल्डर मेरा काम है, क्योंकि मेरे को डिविडेंड और एसेट प्राइस इन्फ्लेशन ही मिलता है और कुछ मेरे को मिल नहीं सकता है, तो मेरा काम है कि मैं ये देखूं कि कौन शेयर होल्डर का इंटरेस्ट पहले देखेगा। और तीसरी चीज होती है किसी भी स्टॉक को लेते वक्त कि आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि वो फाइनली अच्छा बिजनेस एक मिस प्राइस पे आपको खरीदना है। आप एकदम उसको हाई प्राइस पे खरीदेंगे, और ये भी एक स्किल है। मैं कोई एक आंसर से मैं 10 कंपनीज के बारे में आंसर नहीं दे पाऊंगा, बट ये भी एक स्किल है कि वो कौन सी चीज है जो मिस प्राइस्ड है। जैसे वरिंदर ने बताया टेक्सटाइल था, बैड न्यूज भी प्राइसिंग का एक तरीका होता है। सो आपको तीनों कॉम्बिनेशन होते हैं तभी एक आप इन्वेस्टमेंट कर सकते हैं। और फिर होता है आपको ड्यूरेशन एडवांटेज चाहिए कि भाई मैं उस कंपनी को ये सब करने के बाद 1 साल, 2 साल, 3 साल, 4 साल रखूंगा। और एक होता है बिहेवियरल एडवांटेज, जो कोविड में मार्च के 2020 में सबने बेचना शुरू किया तो आपका भी बिक गया। और या फिर आपने अप्रैल में नहीं बेचा या आपने उस वक्त खरीदा, क्योंकि कोविड जैसे जो टाइम वाले इवेंट थे वो साल में 10 साल में एक ही होता है। 2000 ईयर में हुआ था जब इन्फोसिस और आईटी क्रैश हुआ था, 2008 में लीमैन क्रैश के वक्त हुआ था, और 2020 में। तो आप ये देखें 25 साल के इन्वेस्टमेंट करियर में किसी के साथ सिर्फ 3 बार हुआ है, हो सकता है 50 साल के इन्वेस्टमेंट करियर में 6 या 7 बार ही हो सकता है। तो उस वक्त आप खरीद रहे हैं कि आप बेच रहे हैं। सो अ सक्सेसफुल इन्वेस्टमेंट इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ मेनी थिंग्स, इट्स नॉट जस्ट वन थिंग। सो इन्वेस्टर को कई बातें ध्यान रखनी पड़ती है। रिटेल, अगर हम ये एक्सपेक्ट करें कि जो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर है वो सवेरे किसी भिवाड़ी की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट के लिए निकला है और वो ये तीनों चीजों को भी कंबाइन करके एक अच्छा इन्वेस्टमेंट कर सकता है, आंसर इज नो। ही विल रिक्वायर अ प्रोफेशनल एडवाइस, एंड फॉर हिम इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट कि वो या तो म्यूचुअल फंड खरीदे और आकांक्षा से बात करे या अपनी वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट टीम से बात करे, और या हो सकता है कि वो इतना स्किलफुल हो कि वो इंटरनेट पे जाके इन चीजों के बारे में रिसर्च करे, अगर टाइम परमिट करता है। सो इट्स नॉट एन इजी, जितना हमें इजी लगता है कि 12 करोड़ डीमैट अकाउंट खुल गए और सब लोग पैसा कमाते हैं, तो शायद सेबी की रिपोर्ट जो ये बताती थी कि जितने लोग एफ एंड ओ करते हैं उसमें से 90% पैसा लूज करते हैं, और सेबी चेयरमैन ने ये कई फोरम पे ये बात कही है कि मेरे को नहीं समझ आता कि लोग पैसा क्यों लूज करते हैं, इतना करते ही क्यों एफ एंड ओ। सो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि इसमें थोड़ा स्किल इन्वॉल्व रहता है, नॉट दैट कि एवरी डिसीजन ऑफ अ प्रोफेशनल विल गो राइट, बिकॉज हम भी एज अ प्रोफेशनल हम ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में डील करते हैं जिसमें बहुत सारे वेरिएबल्स होते हैं। ऑयल का वेरिएबल है, वॉर का वेरिएबल है, कई सारे वेरिएबल्स होते हैं। मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ, इफ यू हैव द इंटरेस्ट द टाइम, कि ग्लोबली जब पहला वॉर हुआ, यूक्रेन वॉर हुआ, तो सबको लगा कि अब ग्लोबली डिफेंस के स्टॉक लेने चाहिए, और ग्लोबली डिफेंस ईटीएफ्स डिड वेल फॉर शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। इजराइल का वॉर हुआ तो वापस डिफेंस स्टॉक, बट अगर आप देखें लास्ट के 18 महीने में डिफेंस स्टॉक इज नॉट प्रोड्यूस एनी रिटर्न्स, वो शायद ग्लोबली फ्लैट ही है। अगर कोई आदमी जाके उसको वापस क्लोजली देखे तो ध्यान पड़ेगा कि डिफेंस के जो स्टॉक लिस्टेड है और अब जो डिफेंस के वॉरफेयर हो रहे हैं उसमें टेक्नोलॉजिकली चेंज हो गए। आजकल वॉरफेयर हो रहा है ड्रोन से, तो आपको ड्रोन कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा। आपको वो डिफेंस में जो F-16 का प्लेन बना थी वो कंपनी इतनी रेलिवेंट नहीं है कि एक छोटा सा ड्रोन जाके उस F-16 को भी फायर कर सकता है। तो कई चीजें, कई कॉम्बिनेशन होती है जिनसे निकलने के बाद एक आप अच्छा इन्वेस्टमेंट कर सकते हैं। तो आपका क्वेश्चन था कि न्यू एज कंपनीज, तो न्यू एज कंपनीज कई अलग अलग मैट्रिक्सेस से निकलती हैं, कई अलग मैट्रिक्सेस हैं उनके। कुछ कंपनीज बहुत अच्छी हैं, कुछ कंपनीज मेरे लिए वैल्यूबल नहीं है, किसी और के लिए वैल्यूबल है। हो सकता है आप ये सोच रहे हैं कि जोमेटो की 50 से 125 की जर्नी बहुत ज्यादा फ्रूटफुल है, और ऐसा ही हो सकता है कि कोई इन्वेस्टर बोले यार मैं तो 125 में लेके बैठा हूं, मैंने 50 भी देख लिया, मैं वापस 125 पे वहीं हूं। तो कई सारे कॉम्बिनेशन है इसको आंसर करने के लिए। कुछ चीजों की वैल्यू है और कुछ चीजों की वैल्यू कम है, रिलेटिवली कम है। सो इसलिए कोई एक आंसर इसमें फिट नहीं बैठ पाएगा।
मैं आकांक्षा एक ऐड करूंगा थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट व्यू। तो मेरा व्यू है कि डिजिटल अडॉप्शन जो जो हुआ है वो बहुत प्रॉफिटेबल रहेगा और इट विल बी वेरी लॉन्ग टर्म स्टोरी। नाउ उसमें वैल्यूएशन पिक जैसे मनीष ने बहुत अच्छा समझाया, वरिंदर ने बताया कि कैसे पिक करना है, क्या पिक करना है, दैट्स अ वेरी डिफरेंट। बट एज अ ओवरऑल इकोनॉमिक लैंडस्केप अगर आप देखें तो अगर कोई कंट्री में 60 करोड़ स्मार्टफोन यूज होते हो या 75 करोड़ इंटरनेट यूजर हो तो वो अडॉप्शन हैज बीन वेरी वेरी सॉलिड। और मैं एक नंबर डेटा देख रहा था पिछले साल का, करीबन 11 करोड़ लोग अपना अपैरल डिजिटली खरीदते हैं। ओके, मैं ऐसा नहीं बोल रहा कि सारे क्लोथ वो वहीं से खरीदते हैं, बट वो ई कॉमर्स साइट पे जाके खरीदते हैं। करीबन 11 करोड़ लोग उबर और ओला यूज करते हैं, मोबिलिटी व्हीकल्स यूज करते हैं। करीबन 11-12 करोड़ लोग अपने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स चीजें, मोबाइल फोन है, जैसे मैं खुद खरीदता हूँ मोबाइल फोन अमेजोन से या साइट पे देख के। बट यही अडॉप्शन अभी तक फूड एंड बेवरेजेस या ग्रोसरी या ट्रैवल में नहीं आया, जो मुझे लगता है आ सकता है आने वाले पीरियड में। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि ये जो रिवॉल्यूशन है, सॉरी मेरा वीडियो बंद था, ये जो रिवॉल्यूशन है ये मुझे लगता है काफी लंबा चलेगा और इसमें बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेंगी। और एज उसमें कभी कभी बहुत सस्ता भी कुछ मिल जाता है, जैसे मनीष ने बताया कि कोई जर्नी एक प्राइस से दूसरी प्राइस पे एक स्टॉक की हुई, ऐसा अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलता है। बट आई थिंक यू हैव टू बी अवेयर, यू हैव टू बी बिवेयर। एंड प्लेटफॉर्म का क्या होता है, जो प्लेटफॉर्म बिजनेस होते हैं ये सब जो डिजिटल वाले, वंस दे स्टार्ट ब्रेक इवन, then the profitability is unbelievable. Every new user come and add to the profitability. So I'm very bullish on digital platforms and companies, but it doesn't mean कि आप कुछ भी खरीद लो. You have to do your work. It's a company specific.
Sir, sorry if I may add, okay. So I of course agree with the new age, but मुझे ये नहीं समझ आता कि I can buy Nasdaq at 20 times multiple. I can buy Google Alphabet at 25 times trading, TTM price earning multiple पे. How to fathom all these new age companies जिसका multiple ही मुझे पता नहीं है, like you can have Microsoft, बाकी Nasdaq ही मिल जाएगा 20 टाइम पे सर।
See, again, it's about the growth. See, ultimately, market is slave of the growth, right? The growth percentage is very important.
Sir,
If a country has a 1 crore food delivery orders, right, in a month, in 2 years back, and goes to 5 crore, I think the growth is very different. So I think you to understand, that adoption, the first 5, 7 years, 8 years, they bring very heavy growth, and then that slow down. It slows down later. But first, till you're underpenetrated, how do you stop that growth? How do you stop people to consume from what they want to consume? So I think it's all about that. It's about reaching to the tipping point. I believe we are very far away from tipping, but that's the only thing I have. But I don't want to talk about a stock specific, because that will have lead to a wrong idea. But I agree with you. Very, very careful about what you are picking up. And as you rightly said, there are two kind of investors: the boring and contra investor. And there are investors who are looking at new age opportunities, and I think both are right at their skills, right? So
तो मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ सर कि इमेजिन जब वो यूके का बांग्लादेश had an FTA with UK, the exports went from 1 billion to 30 billion. Okay, that is the kind of opportunity Bangladesh had, and that is why way behind than all these countries.
True.
I'm just saying that there are sectors which can grow at 20% growth rate also, but it is not only about technology or new age companies जो आकांक्षा जी बात कर रहे थे, वो पुराने बोरिंग सेक्टर्स हैं जो 20% ग्रो कर रहे हैं सर, और 30 टाइम्स एक्सपोर्ट हो गया था सर उसका, पर वो कंपनीज 10 टाइम से कम मिलती हैं.
मैं कोरिलेट एक ही क्रिकेट लाइन में कोरिलेट करता हूँ. There is an audience for 5-day match also, a test match also. There's audience for T10 match also, audience for T20 also. So I think there is depend upon how much your risk appetite and what kind of growth you are looking at. So there's audience for even T5 also. I heard there's a T5 match coming up. So 5 overs.
So I think we can sum up this discussion in a way, because I read it also somewhere that not every time a great business is a great asset, but totally depends on your timing of being invested in that asset. When did you actually invest in that business? Probably in the sectors which are more the more asked for, like the sectors that we were discussing, वहां पे ये opportunities ज्यादा मिलती हैं. जो sectors थोड़े mellow down हो गए हैं, वहां पे शायद ये opportunities comparatively कम मिलती हैं. But by the end of the day, a great asset will only be a function of time. I think Manish would agree to me. With that, I'll move on to my next question, and that is to you, Manish, that US interest rates have increased. And with that increase, what's your view on gold?
Akansha, I have followed gold, and gold के बारे में saying है कि the more you love it because more you have lost money in that. But मैं आपको ये बोल सकता हूँ कि ये फर्स्ट टाइम हुआ है, मैं इतने सालों से गोल्ड का ऑब्जर्वर रहा हूँ, कि जब यूएस इंटरेस्ट रेट इंक्रीज हुआ and the gold का prices is not gone down because they both are inversely related. क्योंकि गोल्ड एक ऐसा मेटल है, मैं अगर अपने ऑडियंस को समझाना चाहूँ, जो आपको कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं देता है. वो जितना है 2 किलो का 2 किलो रहेगा, बैंक में रख लें, घर में रख लें, चूड़ी बना लें, मेकिंग चार्जेस चला जाएगा. बट इस बार इंटरेस्टिंगली ये हुआ कि लास्ट के 1 साल के अंदर डिस्पाइट द फेड रेट का इंक्रीज अच्छा खासा हुआ, और उसके बाद भी गोल्ड के प्राइसेस नीचे नहीं गिरे, जो मेरे को लगा था शायद नीचे भी गिर सकते हैं. सो ये जो इशू हुआ, इसका मेरे को देखने का तरीका ये रहा. एंड in fact I have a chart also, if you allow me I can do a screen update on that. कि मेरे को ये समझ आया कि एक जो सबसे बड़ा ग्लोबली इवेंट हुआ है which is change the nature, कि हम गोल्ड इस बार क्यों होल्ड करता रहा और क्यों आगे बढ़ेगा इस बार, कि एक ऑल्टरनेटिव आज से 5 साल पहले शुरू हुआ था कि गोल्ड इज फॉर ओल्ड एंड फॉर द न्यू पीपल इट इज बिटकॉइन. और अगर मैं बिटकॉइन की हालत देखूं आज, जो आज अरोड़ा साहब ने एक ऑब्लिचरी भी बोली थी चार्ली मुंगर के बारे में, और उन्होंने बहुत कैटेगरीली बोला था कि जहां पे भी ज्यादा स्पेकुलेशन है वो चीज फाइनली कोलैप्स ही हो जाती है. एंड ही वाज एल्यूडिंग टुवर्ड्स कॉन्सेप्ट लाइक बिटकॉइन. और उन्होंने तो आज मैं देखूं कि बिटकॉइन इज डाउन 30-40% और मे बी मोर देन दैट, और वो जो पैसा है वो गोल्ड में अब शिफ्ट होना शुरू हो गया है. तो ये एक रीजन रहा है मेरे हिसाब से कि यूएस ट्रेजरी जो सेफ हेवन था उसमें भी 40% के मार्कडाउन आए, जो बिकॉज ऑफ द चेंज इन द इंटरेस्ट रेट. बिटकॉइन भी 30% डाउन रहा, और ऐसे के अंदर गोल्ड हैज हेल्ड इज हेड हाई और वो गिरा नहीं है. तो ये मेरे को ये बताता है कि एक बहुत अच्छा कंसोलिडेशन हो गया है गोल्ड के अंदर. और इंडिया वर्ल्ड का 25% ऑफ द गोल्ड प्रोडक्शन खरीद लेता है, ऑल्दो वी डोंट प्रोड्यूस बट वी कंज्यूम. और चाइना भी बहुत बड़ा कंज्यूमर है गोल्ड का. वो प्रोड्यूस भी करते हैं और कंज्यूम भी करते हैं। सो गोल्ड के फेवर में कई चीजें हैं जो बड़ी स्ट्रांगली जाती है। अगर कल को इंटरेस्ट रेट साइकिल चेंज होती है, जो अगले 6 महीने साल भर के बाद शायद कहीं ना कहीं जाके चेंज होगी, दैट विल ऑल्सो मेक द केस फॉर गोल्ड टू बी रिमेनिंग ऑन द बुलिश ऑन द गोल्ड। बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग चीज जो मैंने एक बात बोली थी स्टार्टिंग में अबाउट द न्यू ब्रिक्स, जो हमारा रिकॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ द ब्रिक्स हुआ है, और उस ब्रिक्स के अंदर मेरे को ये समझ आता है कि जो ऑयल की ट्रेडिंग है वो नॉन डॉलर के अंदर होगी। क्योंकि हम आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कई जगह छोटी न्यूज आती है कि हमने रशिया को रुपीज दे दिए। कई बार न्यूज ये भी आती है कि रशिया ने बोला मैं रुपीज और नहीं लूंगा। रशियन बैंक बोलती बहुत सारे रुपीज हो गए हमारे पास, हमें रुपी नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि हम ऑयल आजकल उनसे रुपी में खरीद रहे हैं। और यही चाइना भी कर रहा होगा। सो ये डी डॉलराइजेशन का एक प्रोसेस है। इस पूरे प्रोसेस में गोल्ड इज अ विनर, दैट्स व्हाट इन अ नटशेल आई कैन से। सो इन केस यू वांट टू बाय फॉर योर डॉटर्स मैरिज, मैं ये बोलूंगा कि आपको ज्यादा देर नहीं करनी चाहिए। गोल्ड हमेशा स्पर्ट देता है लेग इफेक्ट से, वो रोज लीनियर इक्वेशंस की तरह नहीं चलता है। जो शायद हमें आजकल स्टॉक मार्केट में आदत हो गई है सवेरे उठ के ऐप देखने की कि आज शेयर कहाँ बढ़ा नहीं बढ़ा। सारी ज्यादा जो बड़ी एसेट क्लासेस होती है वो नॉन लीनियर्स होती है, 2 साल रुक जाती है, तीसरे साल 10-15% 20% रिटर्न दे देती है। तो ये अगर अगर आप मेरे से पूछें तो मेरा ये मानना है कि किसी को अगर गोल्ड खरीदना है फॉर एनी पर्पस, then he can't be in a situation ki jahan pe wo zyada din tak wait kare.
All right. Thank you, Manish, for that insight. Vikram, my next question would be to you. We just discussed some time back on the consumer-facing companies. Some acute slowdown has also been witnessed in chemical companies, and chemical as a sector. Any views on what to do?
So chemical is actually has done extremely well, I think, till 2022, and I think earnings were growing very fast. It was backed by the CDMO opportunity, specialty chemical opportunity, or you can say China plus one and all that. But what happened apparently, on the headline number, China has slowed down. We think that China is right now at 5.5. It can go to even 4.5 next year, from 8%. So China, mind you, it's not only a big daddy in consumption, but also in manufacturing, in the chemical. So they have been dumping a lot for a long time. Also, same time, you see North American markets, the America, the Europe, all are seeing a slowdown, okay, clearly. So which is hurting clearly a demand side on the chemical sector. And what happened, in my view, some of the Indian companies have gone very aggressive and built the capacities in advance, seeing the demand coming up, and that is not paying well. So that's why you're seeing that slowdown in earnings and, stagnation in the earning, or maybe a downside in the earning, and which my view will remain for some more time. I'm not very super bullish on chemical sector. The only thing I like in the chemical sector, I can say, the companies which are more domestically looking than the export looking companies, more domestic. Those who are like short in supply, they are import substitute, and there are many chemical companies, very very chemical commodity chemical inputs which are inward looking, more domestic looking. They are more import substitute kind of thing, and they'll do extremely well. So there's a two stories. One is export oriented. I'm not very bullish. Those who are import substitute kind of thing or inward looking, I think they'll do extremely well.
Thank you, Vikram. And Varinder, would you like to present some views on the same?
As I told you, we buy something, हम तभी लेते हैं जब negative news होता है. Yes, we have to wait for next 1 or 2 quarters, but we are, no one is sure, but we believe that the valuations are very, very comforting for us in a lot of, whether, as Vikram sir said, domestic agrochemicals companies or, complex chemical companies. I think they are providing good opportunities. You don't have to buy everything at one go, spread it out, धीरे build करते रहो. I think destocking is almost 80-90% done with that kind of data, the con calls जो हम सुनते रहते हैं, वहां से मालूम चलता है कि हो चुका है. Of course, it will not move like your defense and railways and all those things, but it gives margin of safety. So we are accumulating some of these companies in आराम से. So we don't, हमें ज्यादा पैसा कमाना है, जल्दी पैसा नहीं कमाना. So हमें शांति से अगले 3-6 महीने में धीरे इकट्ठे करते रहेंगे, and we know what we have to buy. So I think there are certain pockets. But the problem is कि अगर, because I think अभी तक मार्केट ने कोई नेगेटिव न्यूज नहीं देगा अभी तक. हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ अच्छा हो रहा है. आपने जैसे बोला ग्लोबल में व्हाटएवर वॉर हुआ, इन्फ्लेशन हुआ, कमोडिटी हुआ, सब वो अच्छा हो रहा है. इंडिया में सब स्टेट इलेक्शन मोदी कर रहे हैं, वो अच्छी बात है, सारे के सारे रिजल्ट्स आ रहे हैं, बट वैल्यूएशन खराब जा रही है. अगर कहीं कुछ झटका आ गया फॉर सम रीजंस जो बता के नहीं आता है, देन यू विल सी कि ये सारे 50, 60, 70 मल्टीपल के सारे स्टॉक्स हैं जिनमें फ्लोट कुछ नहीं है, देन देयर कुड बी समथिंग रॉन्ग. in stocks like these, you have to take it very slowly. आराम से धीरे-धीरे से accumulate करना पड़ेगा. Now whether that is chemicals or whether it is some textile companies which are still very cheap, or whether it's financials, or real estate में smaller companies or mid-sized companies which are there. So we remain bullish on that segment. The real estate ancillary pack and all. So manufacturing, I think we have been as मेरे ख्याल में विक्रम sir was saying, we have been bullish since last 3 years. So manufacturing is a great story, but manufacturing भी सस्ता नहीं रहा है. So I don't find, I was surprised one day वो CG Power market cap was overtook tube investments. So I was like, wow, like seriously, एक दिन ऐसा हो गया. So, the valuations are 70, 80, 90 times multiples. So I really don't know what to do in those things. So yes, these are boring sectors, accumulate slowly, aram se, shanti se. I think financials is one space, of course, PSU banks and all, which are very, very cheap, very, very cheap. Kab time aayega, ye mujhe pata nahi hai, but haan, margin of safety hai sab.
Since you have a liking towards the traditional sector, so to talk, and some traditional companies, banks like HDFC Bank and KOTAK Bank, which are high quality companies, have not done well yet. So what is your take on that, and would you like to throw some light on why and when can you see some revival?
To be honest, I don't know why they haven't done that well in the market. I think maybe they are over-owned or they were expensive, that point of time, and they'll start correcting. So wo hai. But as I said, right now, if I see the valuations, they are much, much in a better shape than it was earlier. So that is it. But right now, if you have to pick up something, whether it is private hua, public hua, you find a lot of opportunities. A lot of people don't want to go in there. Just say Vikram sir बोल रहे थे technology. Exchanges have done very well. BSE hua, MCX hua, they've done very well. So that is what people want now. Technology enablers in any ways and all. So you choose your space, whichever way you want to go. But there are a lot of opportunities, whether it's NBFCs, whether it's banks or PSUs or private, or whether it's chemicals. But again, I'm reiterating, ये क्या ये सब अच्छा लगता है जब तक market चलता है. अगर market में झटका आया, then all these things will go for a toss, because right now no one wants to listen to any boring stuff. Everyone wants to listen to कल क्या चलेगा, कल क्या चलेगा, कल क्या चलेगा, कल क्या होगा. So crazy multiples. I can't believe a lot of companies who were reporting consolidated losses until last year, removing the overseas entity, becoming a standalone entity. No one used to pay 10 times earnings multiple, और 2 साल में उनको 70 का multiple दे रहा है. So something is wrong with me, because I think I have to go back to the school.
Correct. And in fact, with some large cap companies, जिस type का FII flow India ने देखा from the large caps, I think generally your investments are in the large cap and particular sectors. I think HDFC Bank has also taken a hit that ways, because the FII money had moved out and had gone to economies like US with high interest rate. Manish, if you can shed some light on the same, what is your take on solid banks and key players like HDFC Bank and KOTAK Bank, and what do you think and about the revival of them?
So both the banks are doing well. So it says of a stock price revival or the revival of the investor sentiment.
Yeah, the stock price. Right. I should correct myself.
Yeah, no problem. So if you ask me a binary number between कि आप कोटक own करते हैं और HDFC own करते हैं, own करना चाहते हैं दोनों में से एक, तो कौन सा आपके लिए ज्यादा मेरी समझ से profitable रहेगा for some more time, for maybe longevity कहाँ ज्यादा है? So that one bank is HDFC Bank. And fortunately, HDFC Bank, after years and years together, has converged to the price, which is their historic low price. अब अगर हम आप ऐसे इन्वेस्टर हैं जो बोलते हैं यार मैं रोज स्टॉक मार्केट देखना नहीं चाहता और मैं आज 2023 में पैसा डालना चाहता हूँ, 2033 में 2033 में वापस देखना चाहता हूँ कि मेरा पोर्टफोलियो सिंगल स्टॉक पोर्टफोलियो है, उसने क्या बेटर दिया है, और बिटवीन चॉइसेस बिटवीन bigger of the banks, then I would say that it is an HDFC Bank which will do very well. उनके सिस्टम प्रोसेसेस इज फिनोमिनल. सो हमने कुछ काम किया ये देखने के लिए कि भाई बैंक के लिए 2 चीजें बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट होती है. एक तो वो किसको लेंड कर रही है, और दूसरा वो अपना रॉ मटेरियल है. उनका रॉ मटेरियल होता है फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट्स, जो वो आपसे और हमसे लेते हैं, हमारे इन्वेस्टर से लेते हैं, आप लोगों से लेते हैं, जो हमारे क्लाइंट्स, अपने जो क्लाइंट्स आज सेमिनार में उन लोगों से लेते हैं. और कौन ऐसी बैंक है जो अपनी पूरी मोट डिफाइन कर रही है कि वो नए नेक्स्ट लेवल ऑफ फिक्स डिपॉजिट कहां से लेके आएगी. आज फिक्स डिपॉजिट लाना, टर्म डिपॉजिट लाना एक इंपॉर्टेंट काम हो गया है, क्योंकि कई सालों के बाद हमारा जो लोन टू डिपॉजिट रेशियोज है वो सारे इंडिकेटर्स अभी एकदम हाई पे चल रहे हैं. सो आपको इंक्रीमेंटल बैंकिंग सिस्टम को काफी सारी इंक्रीमेंटल डिपॉजिट चाहिए ताकि वो जाके डिपॉजिट्स वापस लोन में कन्वर्ट करके लोगों को दे सके. सो जो HDFC बैंक की स्ट्रैटेजी है, और ये स्ट्रैटेजी एक दिन में नहीं बनती है, ये ईयर्स एंड ईयर्स में होती है, इसमें कई सारे आइटरेशंस होते हैं, चेंजेस होते हैं, और वो जो स्ट्रैटेजी है विच इज फार सुपीरियर देन मेनी अदर बैंक्स। मैं 2-3 बैंकों को छोड़ दूं तो बाकी उनके सामने जो दूसरी प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक है उनसे भी ज्यादा स्ट्रैटेजी उनकी सुपीरियर है। 19,000 पिन कोड है इंडिया के अंदर, उस 19,000 पिन कोड में कितनी जगह PSU बैंक है, वो अपनी ब्रांच वहां जाके खोलते हैं जब वो PSU के साथ कॉम्पीट करते हैं। एक जो ब्रांच होती है उसको पहले साल अगर 1 करोड़ की डिपॉजिट मिलती है तो उसको 5वें साल 25 से 50 करोड़ की डिपॉजिट मिलती है। ये बड़ा नॉन लीनियर इक्वेशन होता है। सो इन सब बातों से मैं अगर आपको नटशेल में बोलूं तो HDFC बैंक हैज उनका लॉन्जिटिविटी और उनका स्ट्रैटेजी इज फार बेटर देन मेनी अदर बैंक्स। तो मेरा अगर कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन जाएगा पैसे का तो वो HDFC बैंक में जाएगा। कोटक में थोड़ा सा स्लैकनेस है टू रिलेटेड, इट इज स्टिल एन अर्बन बैंक, इट इज नॉट एन रूरल और अर्बन टीयर 2 और टीयर 3 बैंक। तो उनको एक थोड़ा सा स्ट्रगल रहेगा डिपॉजिट करने लेने के लिए। दैट्स द रीजन देयर डिपॉजिट रेट इज स्लाइटली हायर देन द HDFC बैंक। तो ये सब चीजें वापस फाइनेंशियल्स में ट्रांसलेट करती है, जो हमारा प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स आता है उन सब चीजों के अंदर। और HDFC के लिए एक बड़ा नेगेटिव था कि वो लोग होम लोन नहीं दे पा रहे थे बिकॉज ऑफ देयर रिलेशनशिप विद HDFC लिमिटेड, और अब वो चीजें चेंज हो गई है। सो दे विल गिव अ solid competition on the home loan to each and every bank, which is ICICI Bank, SBI, इन सबके 25% of the portfolio is in the home loan because उनको cost of capital का advantage था। Now अगले 5 साल के अंदर HDFC बैंक जो advantage create करेगा home loan में वो काफी अच्छा होगा। So आप ये अगर मेरे को पूछें between these two banks, I will pick up for HDFC Bank.
Thank you, Manish, for that insight. But what I can see in my Q&A section is also something very interesting that the audience is waiting for, which I would also be very inquisitive. I am very inquisitive to know that what else is Mr. Manish Bhandari watching and researching as of now. What are the stocks, if you can help, because the audience would be more than interested, as I can see in the Q&A section. What is currently the hot picks for or the hot research picks for Mr. Manish Bhandari?
मेरे को लगा कि शायद वीरेंद्र की बातें सुन के सबने डिसाइड कर लिया कि कोई भी हॉट पिक को वो चेज नहीं करेंगे हम, बट शायद
मुझे ट्रस्ट में लास्ट 1 महीने में कुछ सुन ही नहीं रहा। मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि स्कूल में जाना पड़ेगा मुझे दोबारा से।
Varinder ji, I'm going to ask you the same question. You will help me. You will need to help me with some picks.
No, I have lots of picks. Don't worry. I am all the boring picks. Okay.
So, अगर आप मेरे से पूछें 3 सेक्टर्स या 3 थीम्स मेरे को लगता है जो ये ऑडियंस को फील होना चाहिए और आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा। आई वुड नॉट गोइंग टू टेल देम द स्टॉक, बट इंडिया में अगर आप देखें जिस हिसाब से वेल्थ क्रिएशन हो रहा है, आप अगर देखें तो स्टॉक मार्केट हैज क्रिएटेड अ वेल्थ फॉर ऑल एनीवन हु इज अ पार्टिसिपेंट इन द स्टॉक मार्केट, चाहे वो छोटा पार्टिसिपेंट हो बड़ा हो, जितना आपने पैसा लगाया उसमें कहीं ना कहीं कुछ एडिशन ही हुआ। So stock market has created a wealth. The job for at least some section of society has service sector of the society को बहुत अच्छा creation हुआ है जॉब का। आप देख रहे हैं बहुत बड़े ESOPs create हुए हैं लोगों के लिए, और even at any level जैसा भी जिसका रहा एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड। और तीसरा हुआ है रियल एस्टेट के अंदर। अगर मैं इन 3 चीजों को ऐड करूं तो इन तीनों चीजों में कहीं ना कहीं वेल्थ क्रिएशन जरूर हुआ है, और ये वेल्थ क्रिएशन इंडिया को प्रीमियमाइजेशन की तरफ बहुत स्पीड से लेके जा रहा है। जो हमने शुरू में भी डिस्कशन किया था कि मर्सिडीज बोलता है कि इंडिया दे हैव डन रिमार्केबली वेल इन इंडिया, बट शायद वो FMCG में 1 रुपए का सेशे नहीं बिक पा रहा है। तो इसके अंदर जो डिफरेंस है वो के कर्व के अंदर है, और ये के कर्व कई लंबे टाइम तक चलेगा। सो हम स्टॉक मार्केट्स को समझें, उसकी निटिग्रिटी को समझें, उसकी कंपनीज को समझें, और आगे जाके वापस भी देखें तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा मिडिल क्लास का जो बल्ज क्रिएट हुआ है, जो वो भी प्रीमियम, पहले प्रीमियम इकोनॉमी नाम की कोई क्लास नहीं होती थी। विस्तारा में आजकल आपको एक प्रीमियम इकोनॉमी की क्लास मिलती है जो थोड़ी सी ऊपर है, वो बिजनेस क्लास नहीं, वो प्रीमियम इकोनॉमी है। तो ये प्रीमियम इकोनॉमी जो वर्ड है आप उसको ढंग से समझें और देखिए कौन सी कंपनीज हैं जो प्रीमियम सेगमेंट में क्रिएशन कर रही है, चाहे वो ब्रांड की क्रिएशन हो, और ब्रांड्स बहुत वैल्यूएबल हो जाएगी ओवर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम में इंडिया, क्योंकि जो रिच आदमी है वो एक ब्रांड से एसोसिएट होगा, उसको जल्दी से छोड़ेगा नहीं उस ब्रांड को, चाहे वो कपड़े की ब्रांड हो, चाहे वो किसी चीज की भी ब्रांड हो। तो ये एक बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट चेंज हो रहा है। फॉर्मलाइजेशन के सारे प्रोसेसेस ऑलरेडी इंडिया में GST के बाद हो चुके हैं, अब तो एक एक्सेलरेशन ऑफ द फॉर्मलाइजेशन होगा। एक और सेक्टर है जहां पे एक वैल्यू क्रिएशन होना बाकी है, और वो अभी थोड़ा शुरू हो गया है, वो है फार्मास्यूटिकल। कई बार बात हुई है कि इंडिया में बबल होता है, तो इंडिया में बबल आईटी बबल हुआ था 2000 में, 2004-5 में रिटेल बबल हुआ, रिटेल सेक्टर के अंदर बबल हुआ, 2014 में फार्मास्यूटिकल में बबल हुआ, 2019 में एनबीएफसीज में बबल हुआ, तो और 2021 में केमिकल सेक्टर में बबल हुआ और मिड कैप आईटी में भी बबल हुआ। ये बबल एक सेगमेंट ऑफ द मार्केट में हमेशा बबल रहता है और होएगा ही 2 साल के अंदर। वरिंदर और दूसरे अपने पैनलिस्ट ने बात किया कि शायद पीएसयू के अंदर भी बबल हो सकता है। मेरे को लगता है कि रेलवे पीएसयू के शेयर्स के अंदर भी कुछ बबल हो सकता है, तो मैं तो उन्हें टच नहीं करूंगा। तो ऐसा आपको बबल कहीं ना कहीं जरूर नजर आएगा किसी न किसी एक सेगमेंट के अंदर। दैट डजंट मीन दैट मार्केट इज इन बबल। मार्केट के अंदर 30% डिक्लाइन होना, किसी सेक्टर में 30% डिक्लाइन होना बहुत आसान काम है। मार्केट के अंदर 30% डिक्लाइन होने के लिए सिर्फ आपको 10 साल के एक ही इवेंट मिलते हैं, वो वैसे इवेंट्स आपको ज्यादा मिलेंगे नहीं। तो आपको अगर मार्केट में पार्टिसिपेंट रहना है, तो मैं हमेशा सबको एक ही बात बोलता हूँ कि आप जरूर बैठ के एक बार पेपर पे कॉस्ट ऑफ एग्जिटिंग मार्केट लगा लें। अगर आप ये सोचते हैं कि आप फरवरी 2020 में मार्केट से निकल जाते और वापस अप्रैल में आते, तो शायद 2 जनों ने किया होगा 100 में से 98 लोग नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो अगर इतना आसान होता तो, एंड देयर इज अ कॉस्ट इवन इफ यू आर सिटिंग ऑन गेन टुडे, आप उसको बेचेंगे, कैपिटल गेन बुक करेंगे और वापस आप एंट्री लेंगे, ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट देंगे, वो कोई आसान काम नहीं है। सो देयर इज अ कॉस्ट ऑफ एंट्री एंड एग्जिट ऑफ द मार्केट, वो हमें शायद इन्वेस्टर्स को समझनी पड़ेगी। ये जरूर हो सकता है कि 1 साल के लिए मार्केट आपके लिए फ्लैट हो जाए, आपके सेक्टर्स के लिए फ्लैट हो जाए, आपका ओवरऑल जनरल पोर्टफोलियो के फ्लैट हो जाए, तो वो वापस कवर अप करेगा 2025 के अंदर। सो खाली एक ही डेट हमारी ऑडियंस को याद रखनी है, वो है 2026, क्योंकि हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर 75 ईयर्स के हो जाएंगे और ये एक अनरिटन रूल है कि वो ट्रांजिशन होगा बीजेपी में। शायद मार्केट उस वक्त ये ध्यान रखेगा कि वो ट्रांजिशन कैसा हो रहा है, किसको हो रहा है, क्या ट्रांजिशन हो रहा है, क्योंकि इकोनॉमिक। लेकिन उसके सामने एक ये भी है कि जो हमने फाउंडेशन रखी है वो इतनी स्ट्रांग रखी है इस बार इन लास्ट के 10 सालों में, और उसका बेनिफिट ही आना शुरू हुआ है मार्केट को 2019 एंड 20 के बाद। 2014 से 2017 और 18 तक सिर्फ फाउंडेशन बनती रही इन नए इंडिया की। जो हम डिजिटल इकोनॉमी की बात कर रहे हैं, जो विक्रम ने बात किया, तो वो एक बहुत बड़ी स्ट्रांग फाउंडेशन है। इलेक्शन के रिजल्ट से आप चिंता मत करिए, वो फाउंडेशन इतनी जल्दी हिलेगी नहीं। सो ये इंडिया का लंबा बुल रन रहेगा इस बार। बाकी दूसरे अगर आप जाएं कहीं भी, तो वहां पे ये बुल रन रहे नहीं है इतने टाइम तक। चाइना में सबसे बड़ा इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ आया, लेकिन स्टॉक मार्केट का कंट्रीब्यूशन और स्टॉक मार्केट का ग्रोथ रेट या रिटर्न सिर्फ 2 या 4% ही नहीं रहा। सो इंडिया के अंदर इंडिया ने जो जितने भी रिफॉर्म्स किए, उनका सबसे बड़ा बेनिफिट ही स्टॉक मार्केट को मिला है। रियल इकोनॉमी को कम मिला है, वो अब आ रहा है, वो स्टॉक मार्केट के थ्रू आ रहा है। इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने हम सब के लिए लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन टैक्स शायद अभी इसीलिए नहीं चेंज किया ताकि कंपनियां रिसोर्स इकट्ठा कर सकें और इन्वेस्ट कर सकें, और कोई रीजन नहीं रहा होगा। हो सकता है ये चेंज भी हो जाए। सो अगर आप मेरे को पूछे मार्केट में क्या झटका हो सकता है, ये चेंज एक झटका हो सकता है जब भी रिजीम चेंज हो, या जब वापस हम 2024 के इलेक्शन के बाद वापस मिलें।
तो मनीष सर, आपका स्टॉक कौन सा है?
Stock premiumization.
Played very safe by identifying the sectors, and I hope the audience is attentive enough to figure out what sectors and what companies are we talking about. Manish has also answered one of the questions that was asked in Q&A, that हम यहाँ से election के around market कैसी behave expect कर रहे हैं. Of course, there could be some volatility that has been that Indian markets have witnessed पिछले 1.5 साल में, but in the longer run, Manish is positive on that. So I would, Varinder, as you have witnessed, Manish has not mentioned the stocks. Would love to listen your picks, and what are you researching on? What are your topics these days?
Many things, as sir said. I think premiumization is a very big theme. I think real estate is one very, very big premiumization story in India. Whether I don't know who buys 1 BHK now. People want 2 BHK, 3 BHK. वो सबको बड़ा चाहिए. And around real estate, there could be cement, there could be plywood, there could be sanitary ware, a lot of things, or even the real estate companies as well. We are very bullish on that sector, and there are many companies. Cement में आपको you will find a lot of companies जो अभी भी 70-80 EV टन पे मिल रही है, अभी भी बहुत सस्ती मिल रही है. So we are buyers in cement. We are buyers in real estate sector. So I think there are a lot of companies जो अभी भी जो आपको 10 टाइम से मल्टीपल से कम मिलेंगी. रियल एस्टेट में आपको 70-80 EV टन पे मिलेंगी. And I'm sure there are very smart people जो कॉल पे है. They can go around and check, कि 10 million टन से ज्यादा कैपेसिटी होना चाहिए, and check out, which are the companies trading at less than 100, EV per ton, and you will see a lot of consolidation happening in the cement sector in the next 1 year or so. I think आज ही अभी केशोराम अल्ट्राटेक का डील भी आ चुका है. you will see a lot of deals coming in, so now people are knowing that, they can't pay, companies can't stay at 50, 60 EV per ton. कोई भी deal होगा तो कम से कम 110, 120 EV per ton पे होगा. So that is one space. Manufacturing में, as I said, sectors which are exports focused, जहाँ पे अभी भी लोगों को लगता है कि demand नहीं है, issues है, क्या होगा, क्या नहीं होगा आगे जाके. So there are not only auto ancillary players, but there are very, precision engineering companies which are there. So we like a lot of companies. Sansera is one company which we think that can do very, very well going ahead. Like some of the companies traded 15, 20 times. Craftman, Sansera, and all. Like I think last time जब आपका call हुआ था, I had mentioned some of these companies. They are trading less than 20 times multiple, 25% ROCs, very solid companies and all. And I think commodities may, no one love commodities, but I think commodities may sugar could see a huge run up going ahead. Pick up, sugar stocks trading at 5, 6 times multiple. वो सब कुछ है वहाँ पे market में है. So as I said, I am not a guy who will run after 70, 80 times multiple companies, new age companies, but there are many sectors, many areas जो आपको 10-15 टाइम पे भी multiple पे companies मिलेगा. So there are. So cement, sugar, manufacturing, PSU banks, those are 3-4 areas which I will search for it.
Thank you, Varinder, for that. And over to you, Vikram. What, as per you, are the top stocks or sectoral picks? Give some insight, and I think the audience would be up and live because they are, every important question and they have a couple of things around some nice topics. So what
stocks,
as per you?
Stocks I can't speak as per the mandate, so we're not allowed to do that. Sectors I explain in a very detailed, digital
Absolutely.
adoption or capital market related things, or manufacturing, capex, automobile. I think those are sectors looking extremely good. Like Manish was about Mercedes, right? So India, like I agree with premiumization is a very big opportunity. India sells only 24,000 Mercedes a year. China sells almost 40 times of India, 7.5 lakhs Mercedes a year. So for Mercedes production, 38% goes to China, 1% comes to India. So I think that itself is a big opportunity. So premiumization can be a very good opportunity. So I tell in summary, a very simple, like Harjeet Singh ji rightly said in the start, that you have to keep a long-term vision. So my favorite quote is always that if you work for money, you pay 40% tax. And if money works for you, you pay 11% tax, which is long-term capital gain. So I think you have to just let your money work for you rather than you work for them. That's my summary message. Thank you.
Thank you. Vikram, we are now moving into the Q&A segment of the webinar. So my question is to you, Vikram, that what do you see the future prices in commodities, especially metal prices and their raw material prices? Any particular take on that?
I'm again not very big expert on commodities, but I think the commodities are typically move with the two things. If you're shortage commodity, then the prices always remain high. Second, you have to see the global map where how the world is looking like, and half of the world is going into a demographic sunset, which is not going to help commodity too big way. The biggest consumer of the commodity was China. In China, you are seeing the condition of China, and I further see a slowdown in China. So I think you have to really see in that light of that how the commodities will do now. A particular commodity which is running in short can do extremely well, but broadly commodity will remain, to my view, will be cyclical sector. When you have like a sugar, a bad year of crop, they can do well, or the price can jump, or maybe domestic driven prices where we are not aligned to international prices, they can do well. But broadly commodity, we have a very I can say always a neutral view, but there are always opportunity within the commodity which you try to pick it up. But broad view remains a neutral, and in light of the way world is going to move in next 10 years, things are going to be a little bit of slow.
Thank you, Vikram. Audience would request you to please have a look at your Q&A, the questions that you have asked. Few of them have already been answered by Manish over the chat itself. There are a couple of interesting questions that I would love to take. Manish, would take some time of yours again, although you have answered this question. What do you think that service sector will perform better or manufacturing sector in the next 2 to 3 years? Because there has been a debate there's always this, India has been a service sector and it's now moving into manufacturing. Few say that there is a lot of juice left in service still. So please throw some light along with the answer that you mentioned.
I have responded to each and every question which was directed to me or to the respective gentlemen, but maybe we can take this question in interest of everyone. So we remain underinvested in manufacturing for long enough. from a domestic capacity point of view and as well as from a global export point of view. Interestingly, I'll throw you two datas, which is remarkably these two industries or sectors have done remarkably well. One is wire and cable, and India has become a very big exporter of wire and cable to 40 nations or 35 nations. When I look at the data, to 35 nations in the world. So this was as basic as wire and cable that doesn't require a huge technological advantage or some ISRO scientist to put. And look at this. We are exporting. So maybe there is a shift of business from China towards India, or maybe India found something very unique and the world was unique to offer to the world. And second thing is the ceramic tiles, as basic as ceramic tiles, no brand involved, only single good manufacturing process. And in the first half, the Morbi, which is a location in Gujarat, has done an export of close to 10,500 crore worth of export to the global markets. It includes UK, US, UAE, and most of the places, and as far as Australia and to some small countries. And this will be up close to 40% more than the last year. So there are particular areas where you are finding this approach where the world needs your product, you have been there for years together, and you have got some capabilities, and suddenly those industries have shifted a huge volume from the global markets or maybe to some high-cost markets to the Indian markets. It can be a European high-cost market, which is suffering from the gas, non-availability of gas, or maybe a high expensive gas relative to India. Or it can be that people want to shift some production capacities, consumption from production capacities, which they have allocated to China to India. So manufacturing is underinvested. Manufacturing will see a renaissance in India. Government has done everything possible to make sure that the manufacturing to GDP, which is 16%, goes back to 25%. It's a wish list, but yes, we will be there in some point of time. And service sector has gained from a fund flow point of view at the expense of manufacturing. So maybe if you were to ask me next 3 years, service sector, the manufacturing will do better than the service sector. And at some point of time, just because the whole perspective is to look from the stock market return point of view, none of our audience is going to set up a business. But if you're looking from a stock market point of view, it is an intersection of a good business and at a good price. So I'm not too sure that at what price it will become expensive. And then you may have to shift back to the service, which is a relative value, which keeps on happening here and there.
Thank you, Manish. My next question is more of a, I think the general audience would always have this question. In fact, I also have the same questions every now and then. I would like to know, Varinder, your views on this, whether this is the right time to invest in the market as market near all-time high, or should we wait for a correction?
I think again, sorry, you don't invest in the markets, you invest in stocks. So अभी market में 5,000 stock है. So आपको stocks लेने हैं, you have to focus individually on stocks. People will have 15, 20, 25, 30 stocks, right? Important to focus is on individual stocks. As I said, सबका स्टाइल है, जैसे विक्रम सर ने बोला था, अलग-अलग स्टाइल है, T5 हुआ, T10 हुआ, whatever, test match हुआ. I think the most important thing, at least what I have learned in my life, is that one should learn that who you are as an investor. You don't buy a stock, the stock buys you. So you have to learn who you are, like आपका एक process होना चाहिए, एक तरीका होना चाहिए. I can't change my style of investing every day कि TV पे कुछ आ गया, news पे कुछ आ गया, या किसी और अच्छे investor ने कुछ बोल दिया. It does not work that way. क्योंकि अगर आपका एक style नहीं होगा, तो you will keep on bouncing कभी कुछ, कभी कुछ, कभी कुछ, कभी कुछ. So आपके स्टाइल के हिसाब से, because it is very important, because जब नीचे गिरता है स्टॉक, तब आपको पता चलता है कि how can you hold, or you can add, or what you can do. So if you understand yourself that this is the way I want to invest in the markets, then as per that style, there are a lot of opportunities in the market. So be very stock specific. Yes, India story is booming and all, everything is great, wo hoga, acha hoga, but please, India is not going to go from 4 trillion to $10 trillion in next 1 year. उसको टाइम लगेगा. कोई 50 मल्टीपल का 100 मल्टीपल नहीं होने वाला है, उस तरीके से होने वाला नहीं है. बाकी कंपनीज डोंट ग्रो देयर सेल्स 5%, 10% जिस तरीके से स्टॉक प्राइस चलता है. बिजनेसेस डोंट ग्रो दैट वे. आप अरोड़ा साहब को पूछ के देखो, ये भी कंपनी चलाते हैं, बाकी इनको पूछो कि हाँ भी धंधा चलाना कितना मुश्किल है. बाकी अगर इनको बोलूं कि हाँ भी सर रोज ही रोज 5% अपना सेल्स ग्रोथ कर दिया करो, इनकम ग्रोथ कर दिया करो, वैसा नहीं होता है. So I think people have forgotten to give it time. You have to give it time. आराम से, शांति से. If story is there, you have to stay on the wicket. बहुत जरूरी है. Risk, I think we talk about return always, but we don't talk about risk. I think that's a very big dichotomy whenever जो नए investors आए हैं कि उनको risk का पता नहीं है. So as I said, it's great. We are blessed. We are blessed कि हम लोग इंडिया के part हैं. We are blessed कि हम लोग इस time पे we are born in India. But risk assessment is very, very critical, for anyone, and that is one should not forget, because I have seen people जो 1000 रुपए का माल लेता है, वो आज 1000 को छोड़ के 1 लाख का माल ले रहे हैं. जो 1 लाख का लेता था वो 1 करोड़ का लेता है. रिटेल HNI बन गया, HNI फंड मैनेजर बन गया, तो उस तरीके से हो गया ये सारा कुछ. सो दैट इज वेरी वेरी क्रिटिकल कि आप कहाँ पे जाना चाहते हो, क्यों जाना चाहते हो. आपको इंफ्रा अच्छा लगता है तो इंफ्रा में क्या लेना है, सीमेंट लेना है, रियल एस्टेट लेना है, EPC लेना है, एंसिलरी लेना है, तो वो बहुत जरूरी है. फाइनेंस की बात कर रहे हो तो फाइनेंस में, फाइनेंस के अंदर 10 चीजें हैं. आपको टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सचेंजेस लेनी है, प्राइवेट पब्लिक इंश्योरेंस, AMC, ब्रोकरेज, क्या लेना है, क्यों लेना है. Sorry, you don't talk about the allocation. I think allocation is very, very critical.
Correct.
You should have 20 stocks, 10 स्टॉक, 20 स्टॉक, 30 स्टॉक, 40 स्टॉक होने चाहिए. एक सेक्टर में कितना पैसा डलना चाहिए. What is the maximum percentage of allocation in a single stock? Because I think more than buying the stock, it is very important to understand what is the allocation strategy you have, what is the risk management tools you use. I think risk management tools क्या है किसी के, I think that is totally underrated by a lot of people.
You absolutely right, Varinder. I think how patient you are while investment is also very important. Warren Buffett had said that the stock market is a device of transferring money from the impatient to the patient. So whosoever will be patient in these markets is the one who would have a...
Trust me, सर ने चार्ली मुंगर साहब के बारे में बात किया, आपने बफेट बारे के साथ में बात किया, but no one follows that. Quotes करने को बहुत अच्छा लगता है,
but that's the key, Varinder. We both were agreed that that is the key. You follow it, it's absolutely okay. If you don't follow it, you will become one of those FNO investors who lose money.
से बता देंगे मुझे, but I think Mr. Buffett took 7-8 years to accumulate Coca-Cola shares.
Yeah.
8 साल लगे थे उनको शेयर्स लेने में. क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो हम रिसर्च भी करने का टाइम नहीं होता है, क्योंकि होता है कि अगले दिन बटन दबा दो. Imagine someone, like 7-8 years to accumulate what they want to invest in. Like, I can't even fathom. But anyways, it is what it is.
And moreover, it takes long time, to generate the wealth. I'll just give small example. One of my friends from USA came after 30 years and met me day before. So he invested when he was in India somewhere in 400 shares of Eicher Motor. Today, that time he invested 4,000 rupees. Today, that is worth 1.5 crores.
सर वो 500 शेयर लेता ना तो बैठ गया वो. मैं भी बोलता हूँ कोई 500 नहीं लेता, वो सीधा 5000 लेता है. That's what I'm saying. वो साइजिंग कितनी ज्यादा बढ़ गई है ना, अगर कोई फंस गया तो बहुत गंदा फंसेगा. अभी people are forgotten कि क्या है, कितना है. That allocation strategy everyone has forgotten. Sorry. Sir, can I please leave? I have a important...
Yeah. I think, Ankasha, we should wind it up now.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you, Varinder. If in case it's a slight urgency, then thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing your insights. We would also be wrapping up the session in the paucity of time. Thank you so much, panel, for a very interesting and insightful session.
Thank you, Varinder.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure interacting with experts. Thanks to all the attendees. StreetXperts will be back with more such interesting discussions. In case any questions remain unanswered, do reach out to us through your respective RMs or through our website, www.mastertrust.co.in. With that, I would like to conclude this webcast. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you, Vikram.
Thank you, everyone.
Manish.
Thank you,
Vikram.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice.